When did you decide you wanted to coach in Oklahoma, and why?
I don't think that those things happen. Well, actually, when I went to college, I went to probably not the same reason you're going to go to college. You're going to learn and to. I went to play football because they didn't have a 13th grade in high school, or 14th or 15th, and that was in an era that I wasn't challenged academically, and it was an era that I wasn't motivated, wasn't driven only in athletics, and I regret that. I look back on my days as a public school student and wish that I'd competed in the classroom like I did on the athletic fields. So when I went to college, I was a football player, going on scholarship, was recruited by a few schools, LSU, Arkansas, a few other schools, and I decided on Arkansas and went there to play ball, which I did. Ended up later in 3 years as captain of my team the senior year. We won the Southwest Conference Championship, and really never thought about being a football coach. All of a sudden, after a couple of years there, being a poor student, I realized I was there really to get an education, and I finally became a student. I started studying. I started getting with students that I realized that weren't athletes, that were there for an education, and they in turn influenced me and motivated me, and I became a good student, and had to raise my grade point average to where I could graduate. I transferred out of PE school, which I didn't care anything about physical education, and I got in business school, and I graduated with a business degree. Then when I graduated, I just had to go serve our country. I went in the United States Army, and actually was going to go back to law school. And after I got out of the service, and I was in the service when I was 22, 23 years of age. I was an enlisted man, so I was with a bunch of 17, 18-year-old kids. The 17-year-old kids lied about being 18. Their mother signed for them that they were 18, so they got to be in the service. And I was in barracks with a bunch of young kids, and I was a college graduate. And there were very few of them like me in there because most of the college graduates were already advanced ROTC and had a commission. I didn't have a commission, and so I was a private first class. Well, actually just private. I wasn't even first class. Lee Allen, I'm going to have to call you back. I'm in the middle of an interview. It's very important. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Handle that right, then I will. But what happens is that when I was in the service, I got a phone call. It's one of those calls that changes your life. You know, you're going along from day to day, and you're living your life, and I was enjoying it. And I was weekends. I was going to New York, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia. I was going to the East Coast. I'd never been to the East Coast. I was stationed in Aberdeen, Maryland. So therefore, I ended up seeing a lot of the East Coast. And I was planning on going back to law school. And I got a phone call from one of my coaches at the University of Arkansas. And my coach asked me if I wanted to come back and join the coaching staff that fall. And I said, well, I was planning on coming back to school that fall, but I was planning on enrolling in law school. And they said, well, I doubt whether that would work. Coach Broyles wants you to come back and join the staff and work full-time, be a coach, a scout, a recruiter. And so I said, well, that interests me. I don't have any plans other than law school. I guess I could put law school off a year and see if I like coaching. Well, obviously, I've put law school off for 50-something years. I could still go probably to law school, but I doubt whether I will. But I now made that decision, and that took me on a road in coaching. I coached at Arkansas for 7 years as an assistant coach, and had opportunities to go to other schools with other coaches that got head jobs, but I didn't go with them because I wanted to come with Jim McKenzie wherever he went. Jim McKenzie was named the head coach at the University of Oklahoma in 1966, and I came with him to the University of Oklahoma. Now, I never planned on being the head coach at Oklahoma. It just happened, and I'm glad that it did. And I'm sure Jim McKenzie never planned on being head coach at Oklahoma, but it happened for him. But tragically, he was passed away of a heart attack in 1967, April 26th of 1967. He passed away, and Chuck Fairbanks was named head coach, and I remained an assistant for Chuck, assistant head coach, charge of the offense for 6 years for Chuck, and then he went to professional football, and I was named the head coach in 1973. So I was head coach for 16 years here. So it wasn't by design, not by my design anyway, and so therefore it was how I got in coaching was the fact that Frank Broyles was the coach at Arkansas, and if Frank hadn't been the coach at Arkansas, I might not have been in coaching. I might be another lawyer somewhere. And the world's got enough of those right now.
Thank you. And then number two is, how do you feel you contributed to the program?
At Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Well, Bud Wilkinson, I always said, built the monster, created the monster, and it was my job to feed it, and I think I fed it pretty well. I didn't feed it hamburger, I fed it steaks. We won a lot of football games. We were the winningest program in 16 years that I coached at Oklahoma. We were the winningest program in the history of college football at that period of time. We had the best record in college football during that period of time, and it is now the fourth best record period of all time. So my era was the fourth best in the history of college football. Where are you going to go to school, college? Where you get a scholarship?
Yeah. My brother went to OU.
Yeah.
I wanted to go, but I don't know if it's going to work out.
Okay. You get a national merit.
Andy Brett.
Did you? Yeah.
What is your most remembered moment in coaching?
Relationship with players. It's all about relationships. Kids, it's the people you recruit, become a part of your family, become a part of your extended family. It's those that you're a coach, you coach them, and then they become. It's a coach-player relationship that develops into a man-to-man relationship that lasts a lifetime. So the relationships with the players is my most prized possession, even though we won a lot of ball games, a lot of championships, a lot of bowl games, a lot of national championships. The relationships with the players are more meaningful to me than anything I accomplish.
How's he doing so far?
Good. He's got a lot of self-confidence himself. He's very confident. Presents himself that way.
Thank you.
And that's very important, how you present yourself to people.
Thank you. What, in your opinion, is the worst loss in the history of the program? Not just your era, just the history.
The worst loss? I can't say. I didn't live everyone's history. I've lived my own, and the worst loss I've had was the University of Arkansas in the Orange Bowl. It was the worst we ever played. We were worst we ever prepared, the worst coaching job that I ever done. But we played a good football team. They were as good as we were. But no one gave them credit for that. They had the same record. They were 10-1. We were 10-1. They both lost to Texas by a touchdown. But they were a really good football team, and we were prepared, and it's the coach's job to get them prepared. We didn't do a good enough job.
And this is also like in the program's history, like what was the greatest moment, the greatest win, greatest?
Well, we won 3 national championships, and I think that probably the most significant win of them was the '85 national championship. We beat undefeated Penn State in the Orange Bowl for the national championship. But that victory allowed me to tie Bud Wilkinson's record. We both won 100. At that point in time, we both had coached 154 games, and we had the identical record. We both had won 129 games, only lost 24, and I think tied 4. I think that we both had the identical same record through 154 games with 3 national championships each. So at that point in time, that was probably the most significant victory in game because of what it represented.
This goes back to feeding the monster. How do you think like Bob Stoops is maintaining the football program?
Well, I think it's probably tougher today. I think they have a better product today. High school kids come out of high school are better prepared to play today. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, there are more of them. But the problem, high school coaches do a better job of producing that talent. But what happens is that they're more limited in number of scholarships. In my era, it was more free-for-all. We got to recruit more numbers. I would have a couple hundred players on my squad. Bob Stoops can only have 80. And limited scholarships. Obama has talked about spreading the wealth around, and the NCAA did that several years ago when they limited scholarships. They spread the wealth among the. That's why Kent States and Louisville's and like that can be in bowl games this past year, is because there are enough talent out there, enough population, enough skilled athletes, quarterbacks, speed, that you can't get them all, and you leave a lot in the talent pool. So these other schools that were perennial second division schools now are in first division schools because they get to recruit 18, 19 good players just like you do. So that's brought about parity in college football. NCAA wanted that, and they've got it. So Bob has probably a little tougher job to answer your question than I did, because when I recruited 50 and Nebraska recruited 50 and Texas recruited 50, that didn't leave as much in the talent pool for the rest of them because we had taken most of them in our era when there weren't as many players, population.
Then this, what did you learn while you were an assistant coach at OU in the 60s and early 70s?
I learned what it is to be a football coach. I learned the game. I learned, I grew in my profession. When you work every day, 15, 16 hours a day in a room with a bunch of coaches and looking at a lot of film and having a lot of discussions, talking about different concepts, offense, defense, play, looking at talent, film. It's looking at everything objectively. If you're a student of the game, which most of coaches are a student of the game, we wanted to learn, and I think you just build this backlog of information, process it, you store it. I was fortunate. When you recruit great players and you coach great players, you have a measuring stick. So when I look at talent, I have a mental image of what I have coached and seen play for years for me, so therefore I can evaluate what I'm seeing presently in front of me versus that, and it gives me a great evaluation measuring tool stick, because I'm fortunate enough to recruit and play some of the best players that played the game. So that gives me an edge a lot of time looking at talent, that their abilities to play the game. But finding good players is easy. Everybody, your grandmother over here could recognize a good Adrian Peterson being a pretty good player. So, but it's good to know, have coached those players, and have someone you try to see a Leroy Selman, say if he's can play like Leroy, squat down, play like he did, and look as, in my mind, this image of what he was. That's a pretty good measuring stick.
Okay. How are you involved in OU's football program today?
I'm not really involved in it. It's not allowed by the NCAA to be, I can't recruit, I can't contact, I can't, and they don't need me, they never had, if I happen to be over on campus and happen to be in the athletic department, football office, when they have a recruit in, that's about the only time I can introduce myself and shake hands with them and say, I hope you come to the University of Oklahoma. But I can't be actively involved, and I don't need to be. They can get the job done. It's their job. They pay them $5 million a year to do it. So I didn't get that much. I'm only making $24,000.
Unless it's the Harlem Shake.
The Harlem Shake. Well, he'd asked me and Billy and Bosworth and all to come over and do the Harlem Shake.
That's pretty cool.
I called it the shuffle. I'm so old school, I didn't know it was the shake. I said that was the shuffle. I can't do a shake. I can do maybe a little shuffle.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then,
Peter wrote me on because of my fur coat. Head of Peter was Amber Morrissey wrote me. I got a letter from him.
Oh, no.
He doesn't realize that coyote coat, the guy that gave me all the pelts to have that thing made, he was, and I have 5 dogs. I'm an animal lover, so I'm not going to harvest animals, but those coyotes were killing this guy's calves. He was shooting them out in western Oklahoma, so he had a right to kill those coyotes.
which players are you most proud of after college or after NFL completely?
Well, there are lots of them. I don't necessarily have a favorite. There are so many great players I had, and they ended up being good kids and good people. Some have been highly successful because of what endeavors they became involved with. And you take J.C. Watts, who became a congressman, was the first black won a statewide office in the state of Oklahoma. He won as a corporation commissioner. Election, and congressman, two-time congressman. J.C. was proud of him. But there are lots of them I'm really proud of there, because there's a lot of guys that were lawyers, a lot of them are doctors. I got one's a heart surgeon. My cardiologist is the best thoracic surgeon in the States, named Dr. John Randolph. And he played for me. He's from Seminole, Oklahoma. There are a lot of kids. I mean, just have been successful, and so there's too many to name. Too many. The Selman brothers were a wonderful, unique family. They were special.
And then the last one is, do you think kickers are real football players?
Who?
Kickers.
Yeah, well, the kickers is part of the game. I mean, it's a very important part of the game. Kickers get you field position and maintain field position, and you got to have great punters, and they can win ball games by kicking the field goals and extra points. Yeah, it's very important. I had a girl. My great kicker is Uwe von Schamann. He was from Germany, and he's German, and he played pro ball 8 years, played in 2 Super Bowls. He was was a great kicker. He never missed an extra point. He didn't get the kick one against Texas in a 6-6 tie. If he'd gotten the kick the thing, he would have made it, because he never missed an extra point in his career. And the snap was bobbled, and he didn't get to kick it. So that cost me a win over Texas, and they're hard to come by. So, but Uwe would have made that kick, and we would have won 7-6. But kickers are very important. Very important.
My dad wanted me to ask you that one.
Yeah, you got to have them. That's part of the game.
My cousin is
A
actually
lot of pressure on kickers. You know.
Tress Way.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
It comes down to, it's too much pressure. It is a lot of pressure that is placed on kickers in ball games, but that's the job they selected. It comes down to winning the ball game or losing with a kick. It's they got to perform.
Thank you very much.